Oh no, Opinion Man is back. The Yap attack is upon us. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's y'all see that? Y'all see this whole Marvels thing going on right now? Y'all see what's going on with that? I try to make these a little less, current event, more so just topical stuff that can be a little bit more timeless. I suppose it is timeless, but I want to use it as a springboard to talk about something that I found kind of interesting. It's just like, if you're not aware, essentially, there's some Marvel Rivals is like an Overwatch game, hero shooter, and there's this big streamer tournament that was going on. These have been popular in the past couple of years with like League of Legends, Valorant, games of this nature. The Kumite Cup, I think is what they called it. I know there's Red Bull Kumite, but I think there was one for Street Fighter as well. Essentially match up these streaming personalities with pro players and, jumble them all up and let them go at it and everything like that. It's become a very popular concept online on Twitch specifically in the past couple of years. So they were running one of these for Marvel Rivals, it seems like. And you see, that's the fun part, if you want to call it that, about drama, because it's like it gives you an excuse to go down a rabbit holes, depths hitherto unthinkable. You know what I mean? Like you get this vertical slice, and you can go as far down that rabbit hole. Really is emblematic of what I'm talking about. You can go as far down that rabbit hole uh, as humanly possible, as far down as you want. But it is a vertical slice. But you get to have this whole complex, nuanced, so to speak, understanding of some shit that you didn't even know existed yesterday. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying all that because yeah, they were running this tournament, and there's a team. I said all that because I don't know anything about Marvel, so I have to learn about it. That's why I said that. But they're building a team, and my understanding is that the quote unquote pro player that they got is this guy who's like ranked number one on his character, and he's a top 100 player on the leaderboard. So that's their pro player, and it was some female streamer who is team captain, and allegedly, I guess she kind of just picks a team full of people that she kind of knows or everything like that. She drops a team of all women. They're all other streaming women. One of them is like a there's a character Black Widow, which is funny because there's also a character named Black Widow in Overwatch, and I think they play pretty similar. They're both like sniper characters. I just find that interesting. I know that one game is kind of like uh, what would you call it? Not what do you call it, like with music, where it's like an extrapolation of the other one. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I just found that interesting. But the point is, yeah, no, he's the pro player. He's on a team with a whole bunch of e-girls. They're doing scrims. Essentially, it's a $40,000 tournament. $40,000 in total prize pool. So he's like just some 20-year-old college kid and everything like this that just so happens to be outrageously good at this game. So obviously he's taking it very, very seriously. He's even trying to get these guys to get on scrimmages and everything like that. They're not aware of it and everything like this. He's kind of trying to conduct and operate this whole operation to make sure that they're taking it as serious as possible so they can be as competitive as possible. And obviously, the mentality with his teammates just wasn't there. They're more so in it just for vibes and exposure and everything like that. And they kind of made that clear, to be fair. that they're all about good vibes and everything like that, and nothing about any type of competition. But you know, I mean, once again, you see, I'm getting down. I'm doing the rabbit hole thing. The point is when you're playing games like this, especially when we're talking about hero shooters, um, when you're playing at any type of competitive level, especially now that it's a 5-on-5 type deal, like you're in full communication and full coordination with the four other people on the team, it becomes a lot more so about player comps, you know what I mean, character comps more than anything else. And this is a downside to these type of games. This is what actually killed a lot of people's enjoyment of Overwatch, and maybe made it possible for Marvel Rivals to even exist, and for that to take a lot of the market share from Overwatch. But again, super nerdy and shit like that. I'm supposed to be talking like philosophy, like pseudo philosophy, pseudo politics type shit. Like I don't know, but the game is actually what got me interested in it in the first place, the gaming aspect of it. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that the compositions matter more than individual play, and it seems like that was the crux of the issue, and it seems that was the sticking point, and it seems that that is what perhaps some of his teammates, the other e-girl streamer women players, may have not understood. It seems to. I'm skipping ahead, but you know what I mean. I'm skipping and going back and going on side tangents and everything like that. What happened was that he got kicked out of this tournament due to uh, the girl. Specifically, it was the boyfriend of one of the girls there. But you know, complaints from his teammates that he was being toxic and he was messing with the vibe and everything like that. So they kicked him out of the tournament and replaced him with an alternate, and he did not get to play. And this whole controversy seems very niche, but it blew up the entire internet. A well-known thing that was going around is that the Atlanta Hawks NBA team social media official Twitter account posted a meme in reference to this whole situation, just because it's the topic of the internet. It's the flavor of the month right now on the internet. Um, so you know, I focused on that other half because I'm trying to be, you know, I'm trying to do the centrist thing. It really it seems as if the what started it was this guy, this streamer, the top 100 player, trying to convince one of his teammates to switch supports, to essentially switch characters, specifically the Widowmaker player, who was like a Widowmaker one trick, trying to just convince her that it's just not gonna work. That character doesn't work in competitive. Just the way that the meta works and everything like this, it's really easy. The weaknesses are very, very easy to take advantage of, and it would be best if you switched, even if you're not comfortable with a different pick. And they were obviously, I mean, she's a one trick. They're just super apprehensive to listen to any of the advice from the top 100 player. Um, it seemed like, and this is why I brought up the thing with character comps earlier, because it really kind of seemed like they was taking it as like an insult, that you know, like he didn't think she was good enough or that she could perform good enough on that character. Like he was doubting her skill, when it's not really that. It's more so, you know, when you're playing competitive, when you're playing 5-on-5, these are things that matter more than individual skill. And if you choose to ignore it, you're just gonna get exploited. So it seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. He was also, I guess it's meta on Marvel Rivals as of right now, I guess, to play like triple support. I think there's a 5-on-5 game, or is it 6-on-6? Because the original Overwatch was 6-on-6. I actually don't know, but you know, what I mean, multiplayer game, and 10 or more people playing at the same time. So, you know, I guess triple support is one of the meta. Uh, if y'all didn't know, meta stands for most effective tactic available. By the way, people don't just use this term. A lot of terms actually have, you know, what I mean, if you go into the linguistics of how they actually came about, you'll be surprised that a lot of them actually do have meanings, or they're acronyms, or are short for something. Particularly in gaming, a lot of terms that we use. You know, what I mean, dot. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know that dot stands for damage over time. DPS, damage per second, and everything like that. But you know what I mean? You get so used to just be like, oh, my dot damage, my deeps, and shit like that, that you don't even really think about it. Proc stands for program random occurrence. Yeah, a lot of people just use the term proc. They don't even use it for the intended purpose of what that, because that's more like a strategy game thing. I believe it came from like the Warcrafts and the Dotas and stuff like that. But you know, most people would just like, oh, my like in the case of like League of Legends or something like that, oh, my passive didn't proc or something like that. That's not a programmable random occurrence. You could say my crit didn't proc because crit chance, you know what I mean, there's a chance there. There's a random element to it, even though it's not actually random if you get into how the game actually calculates crit chance. You know what I mean? If you have a 50% crit chance, if you crit 4 times and don't get a crit, you're guaranteed to get it on the 5th crit, which isn't exactly how it should work. In reality, you know what I mean? Like virtually it's the same thing, but it really isn't the same thing. Uh, once again, these tangents. What the fuck was he even talking about? Uh, yeah, yeah. He was suggesting also the triple support meta, and perhaps that's something that they should try out. And I think once again, these are females, these are e-girl gamers. I'm using that. It's not a derogative. It's not an expletive. I use that just to e-girls more so of an aesthetic thing than it is anything else. And I think that term kind of gets across the type of streamers that I'm talking about here. Um, but yeah, I think that some of them kind of took offense to that because it's very common. It's a very, very common trope. The e-girl, gamer girl support main and shit like that. Support main that just gets carried by their boyfriend or significant other or whatever it is and everything like that. I know that's a whole cultural meme and everything like that within Valorant. Uh, for every kill you get, it will be one uwu. That is a quote. It is a reference. There's a clip out there. I don't know how serious it is. I recommend you don't look it up. I should not have said it. I'm sorry for saying it. Yeah, how far are we in this? How long have we been yapping? I spent 12 minutes yapping, and we ain't even got to the topic. Who would ever listen to this? Who in their right mind would ever listen to this? Genuinely. Uh, I say all that just because, the guy got banned. The top 100 player, he got banned from the tournament, and that has caused all of this discourse. From what I'm seeing, the vast majority of the internet is on the side of the top 100 player. Uh, and it's more so just people who are fans of those individual streamers, the e-girls that are on the other side of this. But the reason I want to talk about it is just, it's like, why is it that this has seemed to strike such a nerve with the entirety of the internet? Why is it that this is bleeding out into mainstream discourse? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? You know what I mean? And for me personally, I think it touches on a certain reality when it comes to, females in male spaces, in particular the gaming space. That's probably a little bit uncomfortable, probably something that we've kind of gone away from culturally and everything like that. You know what I mean? It's no longer the 2010s. It's no longer the 2000s and stuff where it's even, you know what I mean? If a girl's playing a video game, you don't even really, we're kind of trained to not even really notice it even though it's very noticeable. You know what I mean? You kind of train that part. It's almost like a color blindness. You know what I mean? Like the color blindness of the 2000s, of the 90s and the 2000s. It's like that, but obviously with gender relations when it comes specifically to online communities. I'm trying not to sound like an incel. I'm really not, because nothing I'm gonna say has anything. I don't think there's any overlap with what an incel would say. I would think. I don't know what these niggas be talking about. If I want to be real. But no, I just find it interesting. Like, a part of where the controversy came from is that these women were being inordinately rude to the guy. You know, even in the context of, like, in-game banter and just, general gamer behavior. Inordinately rude in a different type of way. For instance, obviously on multiple instances calling him like a loser for caring so much about this $40,000 tournament. He says he needs the money. He wants the money for college. It will be huge for him and everything like that. This guy is somebody who plays on like a laptop, very cheap. He plays on very cheap equipment. He plays within his means, and he's still a top 100 player, smaller streamer at the time, and everything like this. So it's not like he's like Moist Critical or something like this. Somebody with millions, a huge following who does this full time and everything like that. There's just some kid who just so happens to also be good at the game. Well, you know what I mean? Who's still living his life and everything like this. It's not his full time gig. They were making fun of him, you know what I mean, calling him, oh, I need this for college, just stuff like that, calling him a loser on multiple places, saying that his chat is full of pedophiles. You know what I mean? I'm sure they called him an incel because that's like a common phrase to go to. Like I can all but guarantee it. That's also a term that was thrown around. Constantly telling them to just shut the fuck up. There was one particular, the actual line that probably got me to kind of sit down. I was like, all right, let me see if I can record something on this. Was he kind of finished making his point? He's very passionate as well, obviously. He's a competitive guy and everything, too. It's not like he's just sitting here taking all of this, you know what I mean? So he's mouthing off in his own way, I suppose. But, anybody who plays any type of competitive online anything, I feel like that's kind of part of the reason. Part of the reason why a lot of the internet's been on his side when it comes to this, just because they understand what somebody who's really, really competing sounds like, and they know that there's the context of that and where that's coming from, morally speaking, just behaviorally speaking. Not to, give anybody any credit. Really, his biggest sin, I'm not trying to sit here and like cope for him, you know what I mean? His biggest sin was kind of just being annoying and I suppose not reading the room properly, but in his defense, he's just going to say I signed up for this tournament. They also signed up for this tournament. They knew that all this money was going to be on the line. They knew that people were going to compete for it and I want to compete for it. Like, I'm not in the wrong for wanting to compete. And that's a very, very good argument in his favor. But yeah, no, it was a specific line where he got done making his case for why one of these players should switch to a different character in the game. And one of the e-girls responded. I'm gonna try and do it justice. She was like, "Oh my God, yeah, no, that's like a really good point, and we're still gonna play Widow anyway." You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm not giving it credit, but it was just very obviously, what's the word for it? Like infantilizing him, being super passive aggressive about it and everything like that. When he's kind of like on his, on his knees, so to speak, begging. You know what I mean? People like to be listened to at least consider what he's saying, and then just to get this passive aggressive response. Like, oh, okay, I kind of see what you talk about now. No, that is a really good point. I appreciate that, but we're still going to play with him. So you completely shut down the conversation at this point and everything like that. And these are his teammates, and he got drafted to this team. They drafted him. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not even like these are the people that he like chose. This is a bet that he's made or anything like this. He got chose to be here. He, you know what I mean, as far as I know, can't request to be traded like this is the NBA or some shit like this. Like, this is the bed he just needs to he's been forced to sleep in. It's kind of a way of looking at it, and and the reason why that kind of struck a chord with me and seemingly other people, but that specific clip for me is just kind of how it's just the difference between male and female interactions and how they relate to other people in a gaming space. You know what I mean? Not to say that there's all types of clips and everything like that. If you play League of Legends, you're aware of a guy named Tarzan. Is it Tarzan or Tarzanid or whatever the fuck you call him and shit like that? He got completely and utterly like completely IP banned from anything to do with League of Legends or Riot Games and everything like that, just for the amount of toxicity, not only within the game but outside of the game. He got in trouble for just his behavior on stream and how he's affecting the league community, because culturally he was having an impact of people who would watch him. He comes out, I criticize it because I feel like League of Legends, through meticulous choices over the years, has kind of engendered a community that's this type of toxic, and they've not taken the proper steps at the proper times to curtail that. That's my criticism and everything like that. So I would argue that somebody like Tarzan, I don't know how the motherfucker say that nigga's name, but somebody like that guy was bred out of the culture that already existed. That's kind of the argument I would make. But the point is, that's a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? Like the man baby motherfucking molding, whatever the fuck you want to call it, like type guy. You know, when it comes to gaming. So, but you don't typically see that with women. You see what I'm saying? Not only because obviously, you know, they just play video games a lot less, and the types of video games that they play are also going to be very different. They explicitly are driven away from super competitive types of games, while you could argue the opposite for men. I know some people might take issue when I say they don't play video games as much. I know that there are studies out there that show that women actually play video games pretty much the same as men, but if you count like mobile games and puzzle games and things of this nature, like visual novels and shit like that, sure, if that's what you're talking about, but you understand what I'm trying to say when I said they play video games less. The types of games that we would commonly, think of when we think of video game, not motherfucking like fucking, I don't know, what the fuck is even a popular mobile game now? I was gonna say motherfucking Angry Birds, but like I don't think people play that no more. People play like these idle games and gotcha games and shit like this now. It's like, I don't know, Fortnite, but they ain't gonna play Fortnite as much as other people. Like, hey, what am I saying? Tangent. We're getting away from the tangents. There's a point here. People need to be able to follow what I'm saying. Otherwise, it just gets annoying for someone to listen to. This is something I'm trying to get better at. You know, I just feel like it just kind of highlights these gender dynamics just in a different way when we're talking about specifically this nerd, geek, online gamer space. You see what I'm saying? Because if he was on a team full of dudes, I'm not saying that it ends differently, but it's gonna sound different. They're gonna go about it in a different way. You know what I mean? If anything, it might have been more toxic if it's a lobby full of men and, you know, one of them's a one trick and somebody else is trying to convince them to switch off. Egos would get in the way. You know what I mean? It probably would have gone, but it would have gone overtly toxic. You know what I mean? Not like this passive aggressive thing and then going behind the dude's back to get him kicked out of the tournament and off the team by proxy. You know what I mean? It would have been straight up like, dude, you got a problem? You think my shit ain't good enough? Like, what the fuck you talking about? It's like that. It's like, no. Like they would have gone back and forth. And in my opinion, when it comes to this situation specifically, I feel like it almost would have been more productive because it would have gotten to the point like, no, it's not that because really once I said what I said at the beginning, the disconnect is that somebody's talking about like team composition and what's best for competitive play, while somebody else is talking about what their best character is. They're talking about personal skill and everything like this. I feel like that disconnect might have gotten resolved in an environment where, you know, there are egos and there are people being toxic and everything like this. You see what I'm saying? It would have gotten resolved, or it would have gotten resolved. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't be my boyfriends going behind my back to DM the tournament organizer, all of this stuff, and then get that guy kicked out of the tournament with absolutely no warning or discourse. It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be that. And if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't even hear about all of this. It would just been like normal, all right, you know what I mean, teams raging at each other and shit like this. You see what I'm saying? It's because of the unjust nature that the entire internet has kind of rallied around this guy and has now kind of blown up the story. Another comment I remember is, you know, some of these e-girls were in their discords and everything like that, kind of shitting on this guy, the top 100 player, and talking like, oh, you know what I mean, so obvious that, you know what I mean, he never goes outside and you know what I mean, gaming is his entire life, and this is why he's probably not socially equipped, and he's not socially, you know what I mean, he doesn't have the social skills to kind of understand these things. And once again, you gotta think, where is that coming from? Like I said, this guy's one sin was probably just that he wasn't reading the room, that they wasn't really trying to hear it, and that they're not understanding what he's trying to say, and he's getting frustrated and he's being annoying about it. But for every he could argue his case for why he's acting that way as well. So they're kind of not only confirming that, but giving some commentary on that. Like this is what I'm talking about, the different social dynamics for men versus women. Because somebody caring about a game a lot and wanting to be very good to the point where you're top 100, you're number one on your one trick character. You know what I mean? He says he's got max rank on every single role in the game and everything like that. Obviously, this is just a game he plays a lot and he's very passionate about and everything like that. He takes it very seriously. That is like already seen as like a turnoff for these women. You see what I'm talking about? Like, just by the fact that, yes, he spends a lot of his time playing this game and everything like that, and the social aspect, I mean, that could be an autism thing and everything like that, so I won't comment on that, but they're using that like as a negative. Oh, he doesn't get out much. Like, why do you think he's top 100 at the game? You think he could do both? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's my commentary on it. That's my reaction to it. But you kind of saw how, like, just from the offset, they're using that as like a dig at him. Well, if it's males talking about this, if it's males looking at that, it's like, oh wow, he's top 100. Who's top 100 at anything? Even the games that I play competitive and everything like this, even the games that I put a lot of more fucking time and effort into, I don't think I've ever been a top 100 at anything in my life. I don't think I've ever been top 100 in my town, top 100 in the county, the state, like, let alone any of that stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever been top 100 at anything in my life. And most people won't ever, let alone the best. He's the best at the character that he plays. He's number one ranked at the character that he plays in that game. You see what I'm saying? So that's something to extol. That's something that's impressive. That's something to be respected in a male space. But now you get these women here, and they see that, and they're using that as a point of, critique. A point to demean and diminish him in his accomplishments. I just find it interesting. You know what I mean? Once again, I'm not trying to make this too incel coded, because it's really not. It's really not. I was just really more interested in the dynamics, between men and women in an online space, in what was traditionally male dominated. I was never into like comic books or anime or anything like that. Not anywhere like seriously. But I'm sure they could all point out stories and everything like that they have that emphasize those same exact dynamics. You're never gonna just get something natural. You're never gonna get just like a natural, okay, this is a traditional male or female space. Let's inject women into it. Let's inject men into it, and have that be completely platonic. Have that be completely natural. Have everything just work out. Like, it's never going to. There's always gonna be, you want to call them growing pains. There's always gonna be a shock there to the establishment that had already existed. And that's not to say it shouldn't be done. If women went to be, gamers and want to participate in the community, they should be allowed to do that. It shouldn't be there shouldn't be any type of cultural stigma on that. But ironically enough, I don't think it would ever be a man. You know what I mean? I don't think it would ever be, like, that's not the people who I think that would have a problem with women in gaming. If any, like, ironically enough, I feel like it would be the women that look at other women and it's like, what the fuck this is what you spend all your time doing? This is why you don't have a man? This is why, are you only doing that just you're streaming this shit and everything like that, just to get male attention? What are you, a fucking whore? Maybe I'm extrapolating. Maybe I'm digging too much into it. Maybe it's a straw man. Maybe I'm talking about shit that like actual women don't do and don't say. But for some reason I doubt that. You know, yeah, nah, I just, I don't know. Are we better off? Are we better off? Is the gaming scene better off? You know what I mean? With this, you know, I mentioned earlier that it's like this is unlistenable. No one's gonna fucking listen to this. I've kind of accepted that, but I'm gonna keep going because I'm trying to figure out what I think while I'm saying it. I mentioned earlier that, you know, this kind of reveals certain things that perhaps we've learned to accept, we've learned not to critique. Is this kind of not like where the reason why that dude, now given it could just be like a personality thing, right? But the reason why that dude didn't, like, you know, bring back that same energy, he's like, you listen here, bitch. Like, if you don't motherfucking switch up this shit, we are going to lose. And what's the point playing this shit if y'all just want to motherfucking lose? I know last time you did this tournament, you said that you got fucking last place. I don't got that shit in my vocabulary. There ain't no last place to me, right? So, and I'm playing this shit, and I want to play, and I'm going to play, and I want to win. I want to win, and I'm telling you that if you do that, we cannot win. It's not about how good you are at it. It's about compositions and what the other teams are going to do and how they're going to react. Best case scenario, we don't get last place. We get like second to third last place. But we're never going to beat any of the motherfucking higher up teams because they're just going to do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, the reason he didn't stand on business, stand 10 toes down and defend himself, is it not kind of because of this? Because if you offend female sensitivities, you get banned from the whole tournament. You offend male sensibilities, you get, you know, praised for. It's like, yeah, go put that chud in his place, go put that incel in his place and shit like that. They were straight up on their streams. They were straight up telling him, like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're making this other girl sad. These are all adults, by the way. What do you mean I'm making this adult sad? What are you talking about? You're trying to compete with. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? You're making me upset too. You're making me sad that y'all niggas ain't taking this shit serious. Is I'm trying to take it. You're making me sad. Now what? But my feelings don't matter when it comes to that. And that's kind of something, that's like an angle that I'm not trying to bring in other. I'm not trying to mix and match too many of these events. Now I'm talking about gaming. Now I'm talking about politics. Now I'm talking about, you know, socioeconomics. Like, I'm not trying to mix too many things, but, you know, that's kind of an angle that I've been trying to implement more, and a lens that I've been trying to look at more, because it is interesting. Like, look at the things, look at the events, look at the actions, look at the decisions that people will critique, and then kind of flip that. Like, why is it that we care so much if a woman is upset in this online space when it should be completely neutral on the matter? But if the man is upset, it means absolutely nothing. If anything, it's a good thing. Because toxic male gamers are privileged, and yes, and that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like I'm extrapolating that, but I can hear somebody saying that, like an Anita Sarkeesian type. I could hear her saying something like that. There's this case I talked about before with this Renee Gold, or Gooden. I probably should have not said her name if I don't know her name. She did die. She is a victim, in a sense. My fault. The girl that got shot by the ICE agent in Minnesota. That's taken over the whole news cycle. Still, it's been like 2-3 weeks, so it's still in the news cycle. You know, something that I'll see when it's coming, and it's less about that, more just kind of like about ICE and what they're doing. You know, you'll see people on social media. It's like, oh look at how traumatizing it's gonna be for these kids. You're arresting their parents right in front of them and taking it away and everything like this. Oh my God, this should be stopped. This is the Gestapo. This is so you know, cold-hearted, and this needs, you know what I mean. And then you'll go and look, and people who are obviously on the whole other side of this, they kind of support what's going on with ICE and everything like that. They'll come out and they'll say, okay, but when the police arrest parents who, like, if you're getting arrested, it's because you commit a crime. So when people commit crimes, when they're get like of citizens. You know what I mean? Like you don't care when it's actual citizens who are getting arrested in front of their kids for committing crimes, but you care when they're non-citizens and people who are illegally here and people who are not supposed to be here. Those are the ones you care about. Why don't you care when it's like nobody? If you commit a crime and it's obvious that you committed a crime, regardless of what that crime might be. I mean, I guess maybe not regardless, but I guess if it's like a drug crime, people might not say they care as much. But there's not going to be the same. There's not going to be the same outrage. You see what I'm saying? Like if somebody's motherfuckers selling drugs out the house or some shit like that, and they pull up. Even if you agree with like, bro, you shouldn't get in trouble for just having a large amount of marijuana on you or some shit like that. Even if you were trying to sell it or whatever, you can have that opinion, but you're not necessarily gonna be that. You see how it's already changed. It's like you would be upset at the laws. You'd be like, man, like it shouldn't even be illegal to sell. You know what I mean? If they go and arrest that dude in front of his kids, that's the angle that you're gonna take. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to this, and I know it's like you're doing the whole thing. It's like, well, that's not the same as this situation because that's that situation. And this is this situation. But you kind of see the angle that I'm coming at with it. When it's a citizen who gets arrested in front of their kids, or it's a citizen who gets accosted by police and detained or something like this, you know what I mean? If it's apparent that it's for a lawful reason, nobody really cares all that much. Not enough to make a whole outrage about it, right? But when it's somebody who is not a citizen, someone who does not really technically have the right to even be in this country, now that's when there's a problem. In the same vein, I know that's one hell of a like what the how does this have anything to do with Marvel Rivals? In the same vein, when it's a female who has an issue with a way that a male is behaving, that's enough to get him completely banned from the event. But when it's the other way around, that on God, that might still be enough to get him banned from the event. It's like, bro, why are you even talking about that? Why are you even looking like that? Why are you even moving like this? That you're being kind of weird, bro. That's kind of weird, bro. You acting kind of weird right now. Just let her be, man. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like this is where the strife comes. This is where some of the resentment. I know this wasn't going to be incel coded because it's not. But this is where some of that might come from, because they see it as, especially people who grew up in a day and age where gaming in specific or whatever geek hobby niche it was seen as much more of a as a niche thing. As a niche thing, it was a nerdy thing. It was, you were socially ostracized for doing it. And that's not saying that the social ostracization was good. You should be tolerant of people's hobbies, especially if they're not fucking like degenerate fucking hobbies. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, it's like I lost it. I completely lost it. I'm gonna be so real with you. I had it, but then I lost it. Yeah, the resentment comes from, especially those people who grow up in that day and age, and now they kind of see like this kind of, you ever heard of like an industry plant? you kind of see like these industry plant women being injected into your scene, and you aren't allowed to have an opinion on it. You're not allowed to have an opinion on it. You're supposed to be just completely okay with it. You're not allowed to talk about it unless it's in a positive light. They can say whatever the fuck it is that they want to you. They can behave however the fuck it is to you. If you give that same energy back, now you're the problem type shit. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense that someone might feel some type of way about that. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that it makes sense where it's coming. It comes from somewhere. God damn it. You know what I mean? If you got rats in your house, it's not a good thing that you got rats in your house. You're not pro-rat. But if you say, hey, man, look at the way that your fucking house is at. Like, you live like this, you got trash all over the motherfucking place. You motherfucking got holes in the goddamn walls and shit like that. You know what I mean? The floorboards is all motherfucking fucked up. Like, it's easy for motherfucking rats to get in here. It makes sense that they be here. That's probably not good, because now it's going to sound like I'm making an analogy that women in the gaming scene are analogous to rats. That's not what I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I did not mean it like that. I'm just trying to say that putting something out and pointing out how something may have got here is not the same as condoning what it currently is. I'm not condoning incels I'm not condoning misogynist or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's a series of events that led to this, and to ignore the series of events, I feel like is anti-productive. And it's funny because when it comes to literally anything else, a lot of people, a lot of supposed like empathetic type people, like so a lot of these same types of people who are all pro like human rights and everything like this, you know what I mean? Like these types of people. I don't know if you're picking up on what I'm putting down. They're gonna be all for like, well, yeah, man, you gotta look. You can't just look at the you know what I mean? Like the black crime statistics. You can't just look at crime statistics. You can't just look at, you know what I mean, like poverty rates and education and you can't look at any one thing specifically. You have to look at the whole thing holistically. You have to look at the whole series and the systems and the structures and redlining and this and that and the other. Dude, why the fuck is he talking about race politics now? What's wrong with this guy? Wasn't he talking about Marvels before? And then he was talking about motherfucking Border Patrol a second ago? My fault, dog. Like, there's no, I'm talking to myself. I'm in a room, I'm in a dark room by myself talking into the ether. I'm screaming into the void. I'm screaming into the void. Although somebody, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out on a public platform. Someone could just listen to it. In that experience, probably wouldn't be good. I probably would have clicked off by now. If I was me, I would have clicked off by now, if I'm gonna be real. Cause I hate niggas that yap and ramble. Especially when it's not funny or entertaining or amusing to any degree. Which is why whenever I do make stuff in the past, I try and have it be scripted. So I'm getting exactly to the points that I need to get to as concise and as efficiently as possible. But all that does is make it to where you don't want to make shit. You're not gonna make it. Takes you motherfucking 5 years to make one video. Just like that motherfucking, that goddamn Pride Parade festival that I put out. We filmed that shit in 2019, bro. Actually 5 years ago. We filmed that shit 5 years ago. And it came out at the end. It came out a couple of months ago. For that exact motherfucking reason. Although that's a different video. That video wasn't necessarily scripted. I don't know, man. I don't know. We yap it. It's the yap attack. The yap is under attack. Maybe I should edit these, I don't know. Look, man, I'm just saying that it's an interesting, to me, it's just, I feel like that the reason why this whole Marvels thing kind of struck a chord with a lot of people, I feel like the reason, I just don't, I feel like there is a reason. I feel like it's not just, I don't feel like it's a mystery. I feel like for years now, that women within these male-dominated spaces, let's just say, have been put in a position, whether that's for good or for bad. I'm not saying like, you know what I mean, obviously there's a reason it kind of is how it is, because women were kind of systematically kept out of these niches. They were kept out of these communities for so long that, yeah, you do have to kind of inauthentically, inorganically inject them in and then put up structures to keep them there for that reason. Because if you don't, you'll get, you know, how the fuck shit was, you know, in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and shit like that, where it's essentially just a fucking boys club and the women who are there are overtly motherfucking discriminated against, overtly assaulted in one way or the other. The power dynamics are like, it could get bad for women. So I get it. Like, but bro, I'm not motherfucking some chud. I hate that term, by the way. I'm not motherfucking like just some motherfucking stupid person who doesn't understand like why that we need to just return the monkey. And it's like, why did we get away from monkey in the first place? Everyone wants to get back to it. Like, why did we get away? When we had monkey, why did we go away from monkey? And monkey was so good. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I guarantee you I get it. But there's problems with this too. There's problems with that, and we know those problems. Can we acknowledge the problems with this? Can we maybe come to a compromise? Can we try to address the issues? The issues is that it's so inorganic, and women are propped up so much, and because they're such a minority that the ones that exist get away with behavior that would never be accepted from a male counterpart. At all costs. We all know the meme. We're like with Twitch girls. Twitch e-girls and all this type of stuff. And the type of streams that they put out. And the type of motherfucking, the type of shit that they do. The motherfucker, look at even here on fucking YouTube with motherfucking Sniper Wolf and shit like that. Because she's such a big creator and everything like that, like she gets special treatment. Despite offenses that would be bannable for other people. Like these are just private companies at the end of the day. It's just one TO. It was just one tournament organizer throwing up that event at the end of the day. Who was a man, obviously. I say obviously, but if it was a woman, I would say obviously as well. You know what I mean? Like, well, so why'd I even say it? It wouldn't be obvious if it was a woman, but it would make sense to be like, oh, okay, of course. So that's why, you know what I mean? You'd have a different angle there. But, you know what I mean? It's some performative male feminist type who's like, okay, you're making the woman feel uncomfortable. It's like, dog, they drafted me. They knew who I was. They knew I'm a top 100 player. They knew I'm competitive. They knew I wanted to win. Who joins the tournament if they don't want to win? There's $40,000 on the line. It's not for free. Oh, because y'all don't care about that money don't mean I shouldn't care. You see what I'm saying? I don't think I add anything. Anything constructive, anything notable to it. To this, maybe I won't throw this one up. I don't know. I don't think this was a productive yap attack, man. But I don't know. I found that interesting. A lot of women within these scenes, online, everything like that. It's funny because they have their own stereotypes, like the motherfucking e-girl with 1 billion ex-boyfriends and shit like that just gets online to fucking bake posts and motherfucking bait men and the motherfucking buying them things on PayPal and shit. Like we all know of that stereotype and everything like that. So there's a couple of stereotypes, despite them being the minority on the internet, but the majority in real life. Ironically enough. But, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I felt like it was interesting to talk about because it's not something often talked about. And if a guy talks about it, then it's like, all right, look at this incel. And if a woman talks about it, then it's, oh, look at this pick me, right? So it's hard to talk about it in good faith. And I'm trying to talk about it in good faith by acknowledging the incelisms and shit like that. But I'm also trying to, like, there is something real here. If it wasn't real, then it would have not struck a whole chord with the entire internet. To the point where now it's seeping out into mainstream discourse the way it is now. Unless that's just by happenstance, unless that's just a coincidence. Maybe it just hit the right algorithm, it just hit everyone's algorithm at the same fucking time and place. Maybe. But I don't think so. I think there's a reason. And I think that reason is that after all these years, it has now created dynamics between men and women in these male-dominated spaces that are unhealthy, toxic, if you will, but they're unhealthy and they are hypocritical in a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't know what the point is. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you move forward, but you know, the problem is there. I can diagnose the problem we all know is there. Like, well, how would you fix it? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I don't know how you fix it. Maybe there's nothing to be fixed. Maybe male-dominated spaces are male-dominated for a reason. Women-dominated spaces are women-dominated for a reason, by the way. And there's not nearly as much initiative to get men into women-dominated spaces, by the way. Some would say for obvious reasons. You know what I mean? Some would say, you know. So actually, I think both sides would just say that, you know, yeah, obviously it's gonna be like that. But yeah, I don't know. When you look at, I don't know, like the fashion world, if that's what you want, like when it comes to academia, teaching, particularly when it's when we're talking like public school ages, you know, nursing, you know, Makeup, obviously. You know, these are this nature. These are female dominated spots. Like, why are we not? I know people are trying to make it cool for guys to wear makeup and shit like that, but a lot of that's just being like, it's just subverting gender roles. And it's usually the guys who are pushing for that because they want to be fucking cool and have a gimmick. Like, oh, look at me, I wear nail polish. Like, cool for you, man. It's not catching on. Niggas is not gonna wear the motherfucking mantle. I'm yapping at this point. I might not even upload this one, but I'm gonna be for real. I thought I had more to say, but I really didn't. Alright, that's it.